Hey y'all, I am so glad that you have joined me back in this kitchen. Today we're going to make cream puffs and I am excited. Well, number one, cream puffs are one of my favorites and they're easy and they're kind of impressive. They're not hard to make, but it is a process. So I guess we should go ahead and just jump right in. I have got my water heating on my stove right here. I've got my heat turned up pretty high because I need this water to come to a boil. And it's 1 cup of water. And to 1 cup of water, I'm going to add a whole stick of salted butter. Now I've got it cut up into little pieces so that it will start melting a little bit easier. So we're just going to let it do its thing there in the bowl. And it won't take it long for that butter to melt, and I do want it to come up to a simmer. I guess I could tell you a little shout out. I am wearing, hello, the oven's ready. Oh, by the way, the oven is preheated to 425 degrees. You need that because cream puffs require hot heat to get the egg and everything activated to go whoosh and puff up. So that's exactly what we want. Oven's ready to go. This is coming together nicely. My shout out. So I'm wearing my favorite apron. This is my bird apron, and it's my very favorite. Brad got it for my birthday. And I've had so many people send me messages asking, where did you get that apron? And I'm going to tell you where I got this apron at, y'all. There is a little store on the downtown square in Dahlonega, and it is called the Crown and Bear. It is a British shop. It is the quaintest, most adorable store you've ever seen. And it's upstairs above Kilwin's Ice Cream and Candy Store. Now, my friends Jay and Margaret own that store, so I have to give a big shout out to Kilwin's. Hey Jay, hey Margaret. But the Crown and Bear, a lovely woman named Fiona, she owns the Crown and Bear, her and her daughter. I don't know her daughter's name, but she's adorable. Anyway, they're so sweet, and they carry the most wonderful things in their store, like this apron. They've got a ton of other things. So if you're ever in Dahlonega, you need to stop by the Crown and Bear. I'm going to put the link on the video so you'll know. You'll have the information. Anyway, it's just fabulous. I love that store. I'm going to go buy another apron. And if you want to buy an apron, you go there too and give a shout out to me and say, I want that apron Jamie has because it's stinking adorable. Anyway, okay, enough advertising. Look here, my butter and my water, it is at a rolling boil, which is not really necessary. So I'm going to turn this way down. Let me look at my heat here. This thing's temperamental, more so than me. That's okay. So I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now I did use salted butter, but you know, me and salt. What are you going to do? So there's 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and here is just 1 cup of all-purpose flour. It's going straight in. We don't really need a leavening agent in this because we're using 4 eggs. Now that's a considerable amount of eggs when you consider that this is only a cup of flour and 1 stick of butter. So I'm going to stir it all together. Now you can see it looks like a hot mess coming together like this. But this is exactly what it's supposed to look like. And I'm just going to stir and stir and stir. And you're actually supposed to take it off the heat. You're supposed to beat the foo out of it, kind of like that. Because you want to get all that, the water incorporated into the flour. But we don't want to take it off just yet. We want to cook it down just a minute because remember, flour is a raw product. And you don't need to be eating raw flour. So we're going to cook it down just a little bit. Just toast it just enough to get the raw taste gone. And you're going to hear it. It's in there and it's sizzling away. And that's good. I am going to show you. Normally I would, after I've toasted it just a little bit and let the water evaporate just the least bit and let this flour cook, I would start adding my eggs in and just beating them in one at a time. But it's hard for me to show you that in this. So I'm going to actually do it in my handy dandy stand mixer. So it'll make it easier to see the process. It'll make it easier to come together. So this is going to cook down just another minute or so. Not even a minute. It's making a racket, and I can't help it. It's all good. It's all good. All right, that's going to be just about right. Turn it off. All right. So I'm taking it, and I'm going to move my little handy-dandy cooker here. And this is going straight into the bowl. Boom. There it is. I'm moving this back here. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this on this mixer so we can get some egg action going. Alright, so I've got my beater on. I've got my dough in here. I'm going to turn it on low, and I'm going to start adding my eggs, and I'm going to beat my eggs in one at a time. See the smoke coming up? There goes one egg in. And sometimes when you're mixing, you're going to think, good God, it's never going to come together because it's going to look funky and it's going to be all weird. But it does. It takes some time, but eventually you will work all these eggs in, and it's fine. It's going to be fine. It's good. There goes another egg. Beat him in. And like I said, right now it looks kind of funky. It's all messed up and not together at all. But it just takes a little time, a little elbow grease. Like I said, I normally do this with my wooden spoon and just beat the fool out of the eggs, and they will incorporate eventually. But I want you to see the process, and I think you can get the idea of what I mean. So don't get scared when you're making these cream puffs if you have a lot of break going on and you're like, well, this is never going to incorporate, because it will. Just keep beating it, I promise. Turn it up a little bit. It's looking fine. It's coming together just like I knew it would. I'm going to get a spatula because I'm going to have to do a little scrape down here in a minute. Okay, I got one more egg that needs to go in, so cut that down. And that is the final egg in the pot. And we're just going to let her go for a second. Yep, here we go. And I'm going to scrape it down. Just lower it down. Scrape. You see we're at this point now that it's not quite together. I mean, it is, but it's not. It needs to beat once I've scraped it down. So you'll see what I mean in just a second. And I love cream puffs for one other reason. Because you can stuff them with a bunch of different things. If you've ever had a Bavarian filled donut, that Bavarian cream, that's what I'm talking about. That's some good stuff to put in one of these. You could also, what else? You could use a cream patisserie, which is basically like a Bavarian cream, but it's a little bit of a looser product. It's not quite as set. You could use a buttercream if you wanted to. If you like the taste of frosting, you could stick some frosting in one of these things. You could do a flavor, like if you wanted to do a strawberry cream. Why not? Do it, y'all. Or even a chocolate cream. But we're going to put chocolate on top of these. So our filling, what I'm making today, it's just going to be a plain kind of a Bavarian. But I want you to use whatever it is that you love the most. So, I'm going to take this off. Get them off here. Make a little bit of room. Now, I'm going to clean this off of my beater. It just comes off. It's sticky, but it does have a tendency to want to dislodge from whatever it's stuck to, because it'd rather be stuck to each other than to a bowl or something. Does that make any sense? Let me put this in the sink. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to stir it up just a little bit. Scrape down the sides to get all the goodie. And look, y'all, we have got a nice, lovely ball of dough. See? It's a nice little ball. I can touch it. Now, I'm going to get ready to put it out on my baking sheet. Now, I have got a baking sheet here, and I have got it covered with a piece of parchment paper, because you need to always use parchment paper. Parchment paper is your friend in baking. So I've got a piece of parchment down, and I've got my piping bag. Now, if you don't have a piping bag, you can always use a Ziploc bag. You can cut the end out of it, but I have a piping bag, and I have a little tube here. It's for this. I guess they've made it just for this process, cream puff making. So I'm putting my tip in. There he is. He's coming out. There we go. Now I'm just going to fill this piping bag. Lickety split. And it's going straight in to this piping bag. Look at this. Boom. Going to work it down. Now, if you're wondering about how much this is going to make, it really depends on how big you want your cream puffs. So, we're ready to pipe. It's a little, if you're not used to using a piping bag, you could think, what the heck am I doing? You just pinch it at the top, and we're going to put even pressure, and we're going to squeeze this out. And the recipe I used said you could get about 18 puffs out of this. I don't know. We'll find out. So what I'm doing, I'm just going at it, and I'm going straight up and down. I'm not going from the side because I want there to be a top that I can press down. So watch. Going in just like this, and I'm squeezing with good pressure. And then I come off of it, and look, it makes a little thing just like that, a little dollop. And then you go with your finger, and you just kind of press him down with some water on your fingertip, because we want the cream puff to have a rounded shape. We don't want him to be wearing a hat. And if we just pull up and there's this little tip on there, well, that's going to mess up our cream puff. So we don't want to do that. We want him to have a nice rounded top. So wet your finger and just go at him and plop him down, and he's going to be fabulous. See, look, he's got a little hat. We don't want his little hat to be pointed. So we just kind of pop him down just like that. I'm just going to keep on. Boom. Okay, so these guys are ready for the oven. So they look like, I don't know, little monsters, little mounds of dough. And that's kind of basically what we're dealing with. So these are going to go into this oven, and we are going to cook them for probably 20 to 25 minutes. At 425, I'm going to set my timer for 25. Well, actually, I turned my stinking oven off. So let me turn that back on and then go in for 25 minutes. And when we come back, they're going to be ready, and it's so exciting. Okay, y'all, while we're waiting for the cream puffs to finish baking, we need to go ahead and think about the filling and our topping. Now, some folks like just to sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top, and that's fine. That's a perfectly great way to serve a cream puff. But I like chocolate. So I'm going to put chocolate in mine. I'm just telling you, that's what I'm going to do. So I have got a total of 9 ounces of chocolate. Those are some little mini morsels, just little babies. And this is just some semi-sweet baker's chocolate that I've got. I'm going to break it up into little pieces. Again, there we go. And now I have made a makeshift double boiler. I've got a pot of water here, and then I've got a bowl just sitting on top. I'm just going to put my chocolate break it into little pieces just like this. Boom. And it's just going straight in the bowl. And we're going to melt this down. We're basically making a ganache. So that's a fancy word for chocolate topping. I don't make this stuff up, folks. Let me get a napkin. Well, I should have said a towel. Anyway, while this is starting to melt, we want to go ahead and add our cream. Now that's what's going to make this good. This is 1 cup of a heavy whipping cream. And we're going straight in over our chocolate on our little makeshift double boiler. And we are going to incorporate these two together. We're going to end up with something fabulous. I ain't kidding, y'all. It's good. So, you do need to be careful, though, if you're making a homemade kind of double boiler, because it gets bloody hot is what it does. I'm going to have to grab my trusty little mitten over here just to allow me to mix this up. But it doesn't take very long when you're using the double boiler method. That chocolate melts just boom fast. And we can just get it all mixed up. It doesn't look like much right now, but it will eventually come together. When those milk solids in the chocolate and in the cream start activating together, they'll get happy and they'll just make the happiest little couple you ever saw. In the meantime, we just stir, stir, stir. Get everybody rocking and rolling. So, you can't rush it. It takes as long as it takes. So, to those of y'all who have the attention span of a gnat, y'all need to settle down. Just go slow and enjoy the process. What the heck? You know, I've heard that you only live once. Well, that's not true, y'all. It's not. You only die once. You live every day. Start enjoying it more. We take it for granted, y'all. There's too many people just barely hanging on by a thread for us who are healthy to not be living every day to the most wonderful extent that we're possibly able to. So, y'all, it's coming together. Look, it's looking good. Did you see? I love it when a plan comes together. This is just about done. These chocolate pieces, the morsels are all melted. I'm just waiting on these chocolate bricks to kind of warm up and break down. And it ain't going to be much longer till they're completely mixed. But now I can actually start really whipping this. And it has melted beautifully. And it's shiny. And that just means that we have done a pretty good job of slowly tempering the chocolate. Because like I said, if you rush chocolate, it'll break. And then it won't be fit for anything. And you have to start all over with a brand new batch. And chocolate's too expensive to be messing up with. So just, you know, bide your time. But look, y'all. This is a lovely chocolate ganache. And I'm thrilled as I can be that it turned out as good as it did. So now, I'm going to get a hot pad. There you are. And I'm going to set him to the side. And just let him start to kind of cool off a little bit because he's good. Then I will tell you what I have done because I've already made my filling. Like I told you earlier, I was going to work with a Bavarian, and so I did. It's the consistency of a very thick pudding. It's basically cream and eggs, and I think I put some butter in here, and it's just a matter of cooking it down like I would a custard. If y'all watch the banana pudding video, you'll notice that when I made my custard, I had to temper the eggs and cook them into the milk, and you end up with just this yumminess. Seriously, Boom. Look at that. But I didn't want to just stop there. I chopped up a big box of strawberries. I'm putting these strawberries into my custard or my cream. I'm going to fold it in a few times. And this is what I'm going to put inside my stinking cream puff, y'all. Look at that. It's good. It's going to be good. Hey, let's take a look. See what we got. Turn the timer off. I think we're at a done point. Are y'all excited to see these? Look how adorable these cream puffs are. Shut up. I can't. Let's just stick it down. Look at that. Y'all, they have the sweetest little caps on. Those little hats, little dome hats. How adorable. And everybody is nice and toasty. They're not burned at all. Good job, Jamie. Now listen, y'all. The thing with a cream puff, they have a tendency to get eggy in the middle if you don't let some of this air out, because right now they have puffed up because of the egg and there's nowhere for the air inside to go. So we need to go just to the side of him and make a slit. We're making a slit to let the air out. And when the air gets out, it's going to let the cream puff dry out a little bit. And that way, the flavor is going to be 100 times better than if we left him alone and he had to just dry out on his own. Then he would just, the inside will be kind of clammy, gross, and yuck, and well, it wouldn't be delicious. So I'm just going to pick these little suckers up and give everybody a slit. Then I'm going to put them on a wire rack and let them continue to cool for a few minutes, because right now they're just too bloody hot to fill. And when we come back, then we'll fill these things and dip them in chocolate, and then we're going to eat one, and it's going to be fargin' amazing. Just saying. I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, y'all. Things are coming together. These cream puffs have cooled down pretty much to room temperature, which is what we want, because you don't want to go adding a cold cream-based product to something that's hot, because that's just not good science. It's not good kitchen advice either, so just don't. Make sure that they come down to where they're completely room temperature. They're a little bit crunchy. They're light and airy inside. So I'm going to show you the easiest thing in the world to do is to fill them and to top them, and then you're going to be eating cream puffs before you know it. So get my trusty piping bag. I have gone ahead and I have sliced the end off just a little bit. I'm going to fill this up with my cream, with my strawberries. Now, this idea, as wonderful as it is, remember, this won't keep long. So, if you're going somewhere and you're not going to be eating them right away, you might want to stick your piping bag in a container with your profiteroles, your cream puffs, and then you want to maybe fill them right before folks get ready to eat, because otherwise it's going to be a hot mess. So I know it sounds like a process and what a pain in the rear end, but I mean, shoot, they're good, y'all. I ain't kidding. So I've got my cream in my piping bag, got my little slit in the bottom. I'm going to sit this down. Now what I'm going to do, it's the easiest thing in the world. I'm going to move the cream over so y'all can kind of see what I've got going on here. I'm going to take a knife. And I am just going to slit a hole in the bottom. And that's going to let me get my piping bag in there. Now watch. Going in to this little hole with my cream. And y'all, remember, this is hollow. The cream puff is hollow. And so, might need to cut him a little bit bigger hole here. Anyway, he's hollow, so we can really get in a considerable amount of this yummy goodness. Ooh. All right. When it starts backing up on you, that's when you know you're about done. So, but it's not going to go anywhere. See? All right. So we've got our cream puff filled. I am going to take our ganache here. I'm going to just whisk it up just a little bit. And then I'm going in. And I'm going to dip him down in it. And then shake off the excess. And look at this. Shut up. This is a perfect cream puff. I'm not even kidding. Now, if you wanted to get crazy, I mean, you could just always get your little sifter. Where's my little sifter at? You get a little sifter with some powdered sugar and just go ding, 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 ding. Seriously, how adorable is that? Who doesn't love confectioner's sugar? Anyway, the idea would be for you to just slit a hole in the bottom of all of them, fill them full of cream, dip them, shake them, and then pop them right in your face, because that's exactly where they belong. So I'm going in, y'all. I'm going to bite it. Here we go. It's real good. Yeah, it is real good. That cream and the strawberry, it's just a little bit of heaven on this plate, y'all. I can't even lie. I'm going to eat the whole thing. But I am going to tell y'all goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you try to make these. I hope you leave me a comment. Send me an email or something. Let me know, because these are good, y'all. I ain't even kidding. And folks will be so impressed if you show up and say, I'm going to put together my profiteroles. And they'll go, what the heck's a profiterole? And you'll be like, you uncultured buffoon. It's a cream puff. Or you could just call them a cream puff, whatever. Anyway, make them, enjoy them. I hope you subscribe to my channel on YouTube. JamieTeachMeToCook.com is also another place where you could subscribe. I love seeing y'all. I love hearing your comments. I love seeing my subscriptions go up, because that just makes me think that there's actually folks interested in what I'm doing. So I give y'all a lot of thanks for that, making me feel good. Y'all are going to see this on the 4th of July, because that's when this video premieres. So happy Independence Day, America. You rock.